quick as that, we are live again. Welcome. This is the very, very beginning of our live show. We're going to open up the chat and see everyone. Where is everybody? Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream show. Once again, this is the beginning of Torn Tuesday, starting right now here at 5:04. I'm going to bring John into our show. Hello, Tukish. How are you, sir?
Hello, Quick Beam. Doing
There
great.
you
How
are.
are you?
That's Tukish. There's John Ben Asher. Say hello, everybody. Haha.
Good morning.
What's going on, my friend?
Good evening.
I just
Good
got rid of.
afternoon.
I just turned that off. I've got my overlay. I mean, originally this is just me, but it's covering your face. Now I'm going to hide that.
No problem
Hello.
with that. I'm doing
Okay.
well. How are you?
It's a pleasure to see you, sir. Welcome to, and there's our friends coming in to join us live on Twitter, Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. We're live, coming to you on Torn Tuesday, direct from my wonderful living room, probably because somebody named Justin, our producer and co-host, he's very busy with everybody in London right now. So while they're doing this massive event, everybody's enjoying the Rings of Power and all of its premiere events that happened around the world, many cities around the world. And then suddenly they bring it up to this big, grand finale with what they're calling the world premiere event. It's happening right now, even as we speak. It is live. Everybody is there enjoying the thrilling energy and the excitement in the air. And it's really quite exciting.
You've been there yourself. You've had a nice taste of that over in New York City land.
Yes, that's funny. I was just with Justin and everybody, and with Corey Olson, the Tolkien professor, and Matt, Nerd of the Rings. And speaking of, I was there with everybody. Everybody was at New York City, but now there's even more of an event happening, and there's even more people in London right now, even as we speak.
It's really cool to see it happening in real time on the internet. And we had our own Lady Nico, who is one of our moderators over in the Torn Discord at the event. And Justin is also there. Same with Kirsten, Green Dragon, and many Torn friends.
Yeah.
Pippin Skywalker. Shout out to all you Torn friends who are there. I believe Mr. Matthew Hodges actually turned out for this thing. So friends old and new. And of course, many more fans beyond the Torn sibling household at this event. So what's going on over there, Cliff?
Indeed. Well, first of all, now that I can see so many active people come and join with us in the chat, I'm going to change over to the actual chat window. I can see everybody. Okay. All right. How about that? There's everybody. Look, we are doing Torn Tuesday right now. I'm gonna talk about some of our experiences at New York City, and right now, yes, Nico, the MVP. Yes, I know this. Everybody's having a great time. I can see everyone in the chat. Hello, Dr. Nosy, and there's Stephen, Laswin, Emma, Roak, Katie, Candace, and very, very special hello to the Shiv Knight. Yes, it was great to meet you as well in New York City. Absolutely. And who else is there? There's Jill, there's Iravandi, Yami, hello everybody, and of Gondor. Welcome again. This is huge. Troy, hello Troy. I can't get lost in the chat. I'll come back to you folks. I want to acknowledge one of our moderators, who is one of the newest moderators at Discord. He's Keaton Landfair is joining us as well right here. Hello, Keaton.
Hello, good evening, afternoon, everyone.
Hello, buddy. This is a great show to have. Torn Tuesday right here in the heart of Hollywood. My name, since I have not even properly introduced myself at all, here we are at the top of the show. My name is Clifford Broadway, and I'm a contributor, writer, and voice from the past and the present right here at theonering.net. And just been there writing. I'm busy in the background trying to write my review, my first impressions, and my my lengthy review for the Rings of Power, because we all got together with the efforts of Prime Video and a lot of other fan communities coming together. So people around the world have been brought to Mumbai, and they've been brought to Mexico City. Needless to say, there was a big launch party at Culver City right here last week. Then
Yeah,
we
I'm
went
live
to
on camera.
there was New York just last week, and right now everyone's in London. As we come down to the wire, we are right down to the last home stretch, ladies and gentlemen, because the Rings of Power is about to premiere on television sets around the world on Amazon Prime Video. And right before it all goes down to you getting to watch it at home with your family and your loved ones, we're all getting to watch it around the world at these big theater premiere events and getting to talk with some of the most wonderful, wonderful people. I've met so many exciting community builders and content creators and absolute blazing academic, intelligent academic people. All of these people around the world, all ready to talk about J.R.R. Tolkien again in context with this new pop culture, experience, this new phenomenon that is happening with the TV series The Rings of Power. So I'm just very excited to see everyone again here on our show. But when it comes down to it, wow, the amount of people showing up at these events in London and in New York, around the world, it's really fantastic. I've been, wait, I can't even forget to mention that tomorrow, on Wednesday, everybody who was lucky enough to get onto the different ticket distribution points are going to be going to see it in cinemas, episodes 1 and 2, directed by J.A. Bayona. Everyone around the country is going to get to see it in these many, theater-based fan events tomorrow night. It's all happening right now. What a moment in time for fandom right now. It is definitely an exciting, very exciting and energized moment in time. There's nothing else like this right before the release of, the big show.
No, I mean, I personally, I don't really quite remember, honestly, if there was something this big for even The Hobbit, but certainly since, Fellowship of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's very exciting, and it's just been snowballing like crazy. The press
It
junket
has.
and the premieres, and I appreciate how Amazon has really tried to give fans an unprecedented opportunity to be participating.
Yeah.
All these opportunities to meet the cast, but everybody in our own hometowns. It's showing at 3 theaters here where I live, and
Really.
I know this isn't every city around the world, and there have been issues in places like Australia, New Zealand, but pretty phenomenal that so many fans are getting so many great opportunities at the front end of this. Very exciting times.
And they're all sold out.
They're all
Like
sold out.
That's they're all
Absolutely.
sold out. I know the ones I looked at here in Los Angeles it's going to be packed. I mean, most of these events have all been like a can of sardines. So it is,
Mhm.
I think if tomorrow is the first time you're seeing it, if you've seen it, at one of the big screenings, it's kind of it's your chance to experience lightning in a bottle, so.
That's exactly how I would describe it. This is a really like cresting the wave. This is a very high, big, implacable wave. And of course, I'm not evoking the destruction of Numenor with that, the way that Professor Tolkien talks about his, the way he talks about that wave taking over Numenor. But what I'm really
it's
getting
not
at
a
is,
tsunami.
but there is a moment in time with the excitement, the build-up, with so many questions that fans have. They have so many questions. Let me change your camera, Tukesh, and turn it off, and then turn it back on again. There, is it coming
Thank
back?
you.
Because I'm not seeing you. It looks like your camera is frozen on the display screen. But let me turn it off, and I'll try to send you another invite. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is pretty wild. This moment in time is just really singular. It's a singular moment that reminds me of, what it was like to be in the theaters when Fellowship of the Ring came out for the very first time. Gosh, you know what that was like? It was, I guess you could say, it was rather similar to people couldn't breathe. People felt like they were holding their breath a lot.
For better or worse.
They really, yeah, for better or for worse. How are you there, John? Are you back, Tukish?
I'm back.
Yeah, the camera's
for better
working
or
now.
worse.
This is working.
Sorry about that.
There's-
I had to flip in the virtual
I was-
background effect here.
Big welcome back to the show for you. Hello, Angel, and hello. It's the Wonder of Tolkien, one of our favorite accounts. There's the Wonder of Tolkien.
Yes, wonderful account at Tolkien Wonder on Twitter.
Cliff, can I jump in
Tolkien
with
Wonder.
something too?
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
seeing
Doesn't it
all the
feel like you're
people-
holding your breath? Doesn't it feel like that? Yeah.
It's almost like a collective holding of the breath. We're all sort of right here on this moment, and there's never been more of us together, connecting virtually in real time and in person, and so it's like we've been here before a couple times, right? But never like this, and it just magnifies.
It's never been television.
Actually, our joy, if you will, and our excitement. And I know maybe that reveals my bias, but I'm pretty convinced that this is going to be a terrific show. Not perfect, not without its flaws, but having said that, yes, collectively we're all on the brink of this thing, and very excited.
We are on the brink of something that feels so different because it is television, and we have hours and hours and hours adding on to future seasons that will be many, many, many more hours of visiting Middle Earth. And what we're used to all this time, even with the structured release of the Hobbit trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, we're not used to having more every week on television. We're not used to that. Usually, we'd have to wait a year. We would get a 3-hour movie and then wait an entire 365 days before we could get the next installment. It's a very different feeling right now.
And then a decade between, right? And this is so much more intimate. And we know too, we're on the cusp of this new era with War of the Rohirrim coming out in a couple of years. It's exciting times, right?
Yes. Okay. Now,
as if the TV show was not enough.
Let me digress for just a moment, because it's Clifford, and this is what we do. One of these classical Clifford digressions, but we are soaking up so much really strong fantasy content right now. Look at the success, the overwhelming success of the Sandman series on Netflix, which is
I knew it was coming.
It's an intellectual property that has been dearly held close. And it wasn't so long ago. We just had the amazing adaptation of The Dark Crystal also on Netflix. And that was a legacy IP. And they handled it to such a great point, to such level of excellence. They won the Emmy Award. And now the House of the Dragon. The House of the Dragon is coming right now at the exact same time the Sandman is out, at the time the Rings of Power is coming out. This overload of really high-end, excellent stuff is coming. If the Rings of Power can master the prevailing headwinds, as I talked about in my article, they might have just achieved something magical that would be the big piece at the top of a 3-layer cake. I imagine a 3-layer Sandman, House of the Dragon, Rings of Power. It's a giant 3-layered cake, and we're just eating it up. We're eating it up.
It begs the question that we've kind of explored on the website through various articles, and you and Justin have discussed too. Is there room for everybody in this playing field? It's a smorgasbord, right? So where does your time go? Where does your money go?
Well, yeah, I think it's interesting. I think I think we just lost Clifford.
He'll be back.
I think
Oh, I'm here. I'm just trying to fix the camera playback.
I think it's truly. I think what people sometimes forget, oddly enough, is that this is going to be the most expensive Middle Earth we've ever seen. I have ever. And I would, I think there's a lot to prove here that if Amazon can pull this off, that of a major mega corporation can make meaningful content and can handle stories that so many people care and love about. They can handle it with dignity, and I think it's an amazing precedent that can be set going forward if it goes well.
Mm-hmm. If it goes well, yeah. All right. Well, let's just say we don't know yet. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, and there's 8. Is there 8 in the season? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I haven't seen them yet. I'm going in tomorrow.
Okay. You're going in tomorrow. Okay. There's a chance that there will be highs and lows. There were some episodes of The Sandman which were lesser, and there were some that were more outstanding than some of the others.
Naturally.
This is going to happen. Yep, this is definitely going to happen. There's going to be some variation because they're different directors. Okay, they're different directors taking on the responsibilities on this TV series. And I only saw the 2 episodes that were handled by J.A. Bayona. I have not seen anything else handled by the others. So I'm intrigued. All right. If people in the chat room are asking me, oh God, the Shiv Knight, you had the honor of sitting near me, and I did. Look, I have to say, even though my video is frozen and it's looking kind of ridiculous,
Oh, Mr. Clifford. Now you're just down to Tookish.
And now I'm back. There you are.
Hey.
And now all 3 of us are back. Okay, it's working now again. Very good. Here's the thing. People ask me, how do you feel about a scale of 1 to 10? And I don't want to do a scale of 1 to 10 rating until I see all of the episodes, and I can say overall, this is a bulk review. But there is nothing but positive things that I have to say about the execution of the project, the way that the show looks and sounds, and certainly the way that it feels. The way the show feels, I've got nothing but praise. And I'm being spoiler-free, totally spoiler-free. I can talk about the lore and the issues. Maybe I've got a couple of issues with the way that some of the characters were given certain choices. I had a great deal of invigorating conversation in New York with Corey Olson, and we had to talk about some characters, especially some of our dearly beloved lead characters, who are given some binary choices, some very highly dramatized choices about whether they will or will not do a certain thing.
Yeah.
And I'm still not spoiling it, but by the time the audience gets there, you realize they're trying very, very hard to dramatize things in a way in episode 1, right in episode 1, right out of the gate, they're giving us some highly, highly interesting dramatized things that are for the benefit of other characters that are going to have to face that situation. We're talking later on in season 4. Obviously, I'm trying not to spoil anything.
I was just say, Cliff, I love the way that you are approaching this minefield right now.
This is a minefield. This is a minefield. All right. Now, let's also talk about my strongest impression is that we're looking at a 4-legged table, really. Maybe there's 5 legs to the table. All right. The Southlanders and the lands and the issues with the humans and the elves who are watching over them in the Southland, which is really Nirn. We're looking at Nirn and the areas of far eastern Mordor, or I should say southeastern Mordor. So the Southlanders is one leg of the table, the Harfoots, and the fascinating, beautiful, beautiful way that the Harfoots are realized. And then there's Numenor, the island of Numenor. Then there's Galadriel and Galadriel's main mission, her mission and her interests in what she's doing. And then the fifth leg on the table is Elrond and his relationship with Khazad-dûm and Durin. So the whole Khazad-dûm thing and how Elrond and Durin have this amazing friendship and this really interesting relationship. So there's all these different legs on the table, and believe it or not, only one of the legs is slightly wobbly. I think the rest of the legs stand very strong.
Yeah,
very,
as of now.
As of now, sturdy legs on this table.
So you're at like 80, 90%.
I would say.
There's one leg of the table, but you know what? A beautiful table can still stand.
Well, and hopefully that
strong.
leg will mature, right?
Yes.
I mean, after all, think about all the shows we love and their first 2 episodes, not to mention their first 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
It takes a while to hit your stride, no matter how much money you're going to spend.
I am interested to see the effect of this show because we've had all these huge events around the first 2 episodes. It's been a lot of excitement, a lot of coming back to Middle Earth. Everyone's meeting each other in person. Then what happens when we get into the weekly drag of episode 3? Okay, and we wait till episode 4. I'm very interested to see how people's attitudes and opinions sort of begin to mutate, if you will.
Weet-Bix is so funny. Weet-Bix, I love it. No, we have to get into the weeds, and we have to talk about things. I would like to talk right now about the fact that we know that Galadriel will end up in Numenor because with the trailers and the marketing material, we've seen her having a conversation in Numenor with these people. And Professor Tolkien never wrote that she was going to go to Numenor. So in the interests of, I'm thinking, okay, Arya Stark eventually went all the way over to leaving Westeros and went to Essos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And George Martin had all kinds of ways to get his character over to the other continent to go to other locations. Now the showrunners are in this position where Professor Tolkien had not yet made up a reason to get Galadriel to Numenor, and now the showrunners are trying to figure out how do we get her there. And sure. I mean, I really want to spend the next 25 minutes talking about this, but I can't because we haven't seen the show yet. At this point, I'm talking about something that we have seen in the marketing materials, but it's also what I saw in episode 1 and 2 that makes me think, how do we get from point A to point B with this character, and just sit down and explain to people on our weekly casual conversation. That's not how it was written, but it's still fascinating, really fascinating, that we end up getting Galadriel into Numenor anyways. It's how we get there that I want to talk about. How we get there.
And how do you make it make sense in the limited time that we already, that we're going to have?
Okay, John, Tukish, yes. All right. How do you feel? No, hey, all right. Call Me Witch King. They don't get to Numenor until episode 3. That may or may not be a spoiler, but you don't end up getting to Numenor until episode 3. That's the way they wrote it. That's the way they shot the whole thing. That's the way they did it. But anyways, hi, Higgy Baby. How are you? Good to see you. So, Tukish, what do you think about this? That we're now going to be going to places where we've never been with characters who've never been there, and we have to figure this out.
I mean, you have to kind of swallow the pill going in the door that there are going to be departures. There are going to be things that you don't like. But is that what you want to focus on? I choose not to be there, right? I'm so excited to be exploring new stories. And, from the sense I've gotten from my opportunities to meet showrunners and the little bits that I've seen on the side, I feel like we are in good hands. So I feel pretty confident. And it's opportunities like, what is Galadriel doing in Numenor, which are going to bother people. But you know what? That's a terrific vehicle for storytelling. That's going to be a great plot device that's going to open up and unpack a lot of things. You have to
I'll
establish
agree.
relationships with
I'll
elves
agree.
and men and Numenorians, for example, and you have to establish the strife there as well. So who knows where that's going to go? I
Right.
had a question from one of our moderators in Discord for you, Cliff, about this kind of topic. This one's from Queen Mel, and she's asking, what's the one thing that made you either trust or not trust fully on the show? You've had so many experiences, from the train heading to Comic-Con and the press
Mm.
junket, and your relationships with people and seeing the show itself. So what's made you trust or not trust?
The amount of weird secrecy that Amazon indulged in over all this time was what made me not trust what's
Mm,
going on. That was
mhm,
a big thing. And now all of a sudden we have the floodgates open and we suddenly get to see and talk about everything. But what made me what made me feel like they were earning my trust was what I saw in episode 1 and 2 when they talk about metaphysical things that are important to the Lord of the Rings in a way that we've never talked about before. Even in
mm,
the six movies that Peter Jackson made, even in other adaptations made by Ralph Bakshi and other animated filmmakers, we haven't ever figured on an elf talking to another elf in the same room about what it feels like to experience transcendent state of being in the undying lands.
mm.
Much less we have never, ever had an elf talk to another elf who has never been there, one who has been born there and saw it herself and saw the trees, the light of the trees with her own eyes. And to see two of the biggest characters in the history of elvendom
Mm.
actually stop the conversation. We're not talking about Sauron. We're not talking about the plot. Everything in the plot of the show stops. So we can actually talk with elf to another elf about the metaphysics of how they feel, how they understand, how they spiritually and emotionally resonate with this kind of thing. And that is something that really brought me around to
Nice.
thinking maybe after we see all the other episodes and we get through season 1, maybe we can look back and say they gave it a really good, earnest attempt to bring stuff to the foreground that other filmmakers have not brought to the foreground. And I think really that's the conversation of where your spiritual destiny
Mm,
belongs.
mm.
Where does
Mhm.
your spiritual destiny belong for you, Ellen Dill, is a different conversation than Galadriel.
Well, and
It's really, that's fascinating to me.
as much as we've been able to fall in love with characters from The Hobbit through Lord of the Rings, um, you really miss what's truly motivating them, in terms of where everybody's really coming from originally. You know, where the humans came from and what's at stake for them, and you know what their journey is as beings, and the elves who went to Valinor and the elves who didn't. So I think there's that kind of depth and richness that excites me too, and exactly what you're talking about, these explorations of these themes that, are so profound in, the Silmarillion, but haven't really been explored yet. Getting to see those things develop, that's the kind of seriousness I'm looking for as a lifetime fan of Tolkien.
Indeed. Indeed. Well said. Well said. Keaton, you were about to say something.
No, I mean, I think it caught a lot of people off guard just how forward they were with some of the, again, minefield here, but with some of the topics covered, especially with the whole idea of what do we have the rights to and what do we not have the rights to. That's been a big concern. I mean, it's been a big, I think honestly, it's been a big thing of confusion, especially, when we first got that that first shot a little under a year ago of, you know, Laurelin and Telperion, everyone was like, well, wait a second. I thought this was a second age story. So I think there are nuggets there that
Mhm.
for the people like us, everyone here, it feels like a little bit of a wink, and this, a very reassuring wink. And I think for first time, people at first now entering into the Tolkien world, I think it's also it's very grand and it's very enticing. So I think they've really gotten the best of both worlds with how they've done it so far. Again, whether that carries over, if that same passion and drive lasts for 5 seasons, I don't know. We'll see. I hope
We'll
so.
see. Yeah, it has to last. It has to last for many seasons. Hello, Dr. Nosy says, who was with us at the New York premiere. She says, I can't tell you how many boxes this adaptation checks off in terms of being as close to Tolkien as possible, and then does it with so much reverence.
Yeah.
There's
Good word.
there's something I want to say about watching the first two episodes of Rings of Power, and back to back I've seen The House of the Dragon. First two
Mhm.
episodes. Okay? They are so different in tone. They are very demonstrably different in attitude and tone. And I would say that The Rings of Power is the much more golden hued, family friendly approach to fantasy adaptation than anything we've seen out of anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
I
seen
agree.
I've seen those first two episodes of House of the Dragon as well, and I will admit that I fell asleep. However, both times actually. However, they are completely different, and obviously I haven't seen 1 and 2 of Rings of Power yet, but they're telling very different stories, but there are some parallels. They're both
Sure.
telling the back history, and what I loved about House of the Dragon really was the sets,
Mhm.
and their cinematography, amazing. But it's that back history, so there are some parallels. But I don't know, Cliff. I'm with you. I think they're strikingly different, and I think that they have
Oh
a very
yes.
different appeal for different audiences. And coming back to that first question, I think there's enough to go around. I don't think
Mhm.
it's the streaming wars. Obviously there's been a lot of investments, but I think there's enough market share out there. And what a time for fantasy, as you were saying earlier.
Agreed. Hello from Croatia. Welcome to the live show. It's great to have you here, Vedran. The first two episodes have a collective runtime of 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's right. Shorter than your usual Harry Potter film, and definitely shorter than your average Peter Jackson film. It'd be 2 hours and 10 minutes, and that is considering the J.A. Bayona episodes are put together, and they do feel like that
Yeah.
feature length type of thing. Yeah. Now, yes, that's right. Círdan. That's right. Angel is talking about Círdan, and I'm hearing that Círdan is also going to appear in season 2. That's right. There's no evidence of Círdan at the Grey Havens mentioned in season 1, not that we know of, but definitely Círdan is going to show up in season 2 from all indications and all the rumors that we're hearing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Say the same about
Yes.
Anarion too, I believe. Hopefully.
So I'm curious, what are your plans for watching the show this week, guys?
Well, there's the big event tomorrow. You're going tomorrow to the big theatrical event,
That's
aren't
right.
you? A
Yeah.
lot of people are going to be, and there's a lot of energy with that. I haven't figured out which house party. There's some friends in Los Angeles who are going to have a house party. I think the big one is going to be at Scum and Villainy Cantina. I work there actually at Scum and Villainy Cantina, and it is often the place where we host our live stream as well for Torn Tuesday. Um, uh, I'm wondering. I don't know yet. I guess I'm gonna see exactly what announcements are being made by Scum and Villainy before I figure out where I'm going to go.
All right. What about you, Keaton?
I will be going tomorrow as well, taking a good buddy, and I
You're in Los
imagine
Angeles, right?
I am, yes,
Yeah.
I am. I will find one of many watch parties online, probably. We'll have one over at Nerd of the Rings. Shout out, and there'll be plenty. I'll probably be working off 3 screens or so at once.
And you guys over at Nerd of the Rings, you're going to have a weekly discussion about the show. Is that correct?
Matt is hosting this Saturday, September 3rd, over with Varking, shout out, over on the Rings of Power official subreddit. So
Right.
He'll be a guest host this weekend. So yes.
I want to also share that on the OneRing.net Discord, there's quite a bit going on, and we're going to have a series of weekly discussions about the show. There'll be 2 sort of general episode chats, and then there's going to be a deep dive each week with some phenomenal Tolkien thinkers. Many of you are familiar with Demosthenes, who's been writing for the website for, if I could say so, Dems, for a couple of decades now.
Yeah, a couple of decades. Yes.
And Dr. Nosy, who you see participating in our chat, who we've met through the Torn Discord, who has also been a contributing author of some very deep thinking articles.
That recent article that Dr. Nosy gave us about the suffering of trees is
amazing.
one of the best new additional pieces brought from editorially speaking. That was amazing, Dr. Nosy. I love it. Keep it up. You are a
This is
powerhouse.
what I'm talking about.
You are a powerhouse. I love her.
So the thinking,
she's great.
She's terrific, and
she's great.
There's research, there's reflection, there's real effort behind these articles that are produced, and that same kind of effort is going to go into a chat hosted by Dr. Nosy and Demosthenes over in the Torn Discord. So come check it out, and we'll have the times and dates posted. But those are going to be some of the ways that we talk about what's happening with Rings of Power. Really looking forward to that.
That's right. And Katie is correct, but our friends at Prancing Pony Podcast will be having a watch party as well. That is true. Yes, indeed.
There are so many ways to participate. You can't even shake a stick at it.
Everyone's got a watch party.
All right. Now, take a look at this. Michael Hammond says, people keep saying who will win between Game of Thrones and Rings of Power, but I don't like that argument. I think the real answer is that we all win because we get great fantasy television. Absolutely. I so agree with that assessment. When you're watching The Sandman, you realize how different it is from House of the Dragon, because Sandman brings us right into the modern 2022 modern time frame. And their fantasy realms and explorations of places that are otherworldly, but we always come back to our primary world. And it's really interesting. It's kind of like, when those characters from the Narnia world cross over and come into our primary world, then suddenly everything becomes 20 times more wacky and interesting. Now, Rings of Power is going to do something that I think, and this is to the credit of the production team, the videography, the cinematography, rather, the production department, and the way that the production design looks on this series is very painterly. It's so immersive and painterly. And oh my God, am I looking at a Caravaggio painting, or am I just looking at this beautiful backdrop of Middle Earth? There's really something to it. There is something transporting. That's the word I'm looking for. It is transporting because of the efforts of the costumes, the lighting, the cinematography, and the art department. It's really something else. Don't you think, Keaton?
No, I agree. I mean, I remember, I without giving too much away, I mean, the prologue alone will settle any fears you have about the visual component of this show. I pretty much right away was like, take the Emmy next year, please. So I don't already,
It is and their approach to visual compositions and pacing, the editing and the pacing choices is very painterly.
No,
I really
exactly.
feel that.
John
It really
Howe
is.
for the win. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's you have the right
Did you
people
get the
involved, of
sense
course.
that they took the right amount of time in the storytelling? With some productions, there's this rush, there's this sort of overload on the senses. Too much is happening too fast. How's that pacing? Looks good from what I've seen.
Well, I'm going to say we're going to get a different bit of pacing from Charlotte Brandstrom as we would from
Mhm.
Wayne Yip as we would from Mr. Bayona. We're going to get different feels, a few different
Yeah.
feels. But for this first 2 hours, the pacing was really, really solid. And the transitions, holy moly, dude, the transitions using the maps of Middle Earth, going
Ooh, I love that.
Very
swooping
helpful. Very helpful.
swooping across these
Yeah.
maps, and every single time there's a cross dissolve,
Yeah.
beautiful cross dissolve with a map with the beautiful landscapes that they arrive at in Middle Earth. It's really cool, really cool.
There are a lot of characters in this show. We've known that since the great poster influx.
Of 2022.
Yeah, but there are a lot of
Man,
characters,
poster.
and,
Oh my
and
God.
I'm
Blood. That was
I'm
great.
very interested to see how all of these stories converge, because they surely have to in some way. And I think that's what is interesting about the pacing now, is it does feel like a lot of times you're being yanked over here, to the Southlands, and you're being yanked back over here to Linden. So at times I think it's a little bit of a whiplash, but obviously, if you know the story a little bit, we have to be heading somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. We have to be heading somewhere. Okay, all right, here's the big question. Cliff, on a scale of 10, how will you rate each episode?
Mm.
Uh, okay, do I have to do this? Uh,
You said you weren't even going to do that also.
I was gonna, honestly, I was gonna wait until, if I can, it might be a lot smarter. It might be the smartest thing
People
to
are going to write this
wait.
down. Then you're going to have to average out all 8
Yeah, no,
episodes.
I'm not gonna average out
Yeah.
that stuff. I thank you for that question, but I really wanna wait until everything is out and I can see them all.
Hmm.
Yes, actually, Lincoln. Oh man, do they show maps? Yes, they do. The maps are part of sweeping camera movements as the camera moves across the landscape, and then suddenly the map will dissolve, and you're in a real landscape, and then
Yeah.
the golden letters have become a stationary block letters on the screen while you're looking at the live action landscape, and the letters are now a caption that were lifted off the map itself. Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
Cliff, I have some questions of a totally different nature, if you would indulge me, and if not, we can
Yes.
stick on topic. But you've been to so many events now, and you've seen how Amazon has bent over backwards, spent how much money to really court the fan base as part of this process of honestly marketing the show. They've invested so much money, and of course they would like to see a return on their investment. So the jaded part of me really sees a lot of marketing play here going on, but the other side also starts to wonder. You've met how many of these cast members? How many people involved in the show? On how many different occasions? And relationships are starting to develop and form between fandom and these people whose job it is to create the show in whatever capacity. I wanted to explore that with you for a little bit, and could you share with us what that exchange has been like and how that's different today than maybe it's been in the past? And do you think that this is meaningful? And in what ways?
Wow. Yeah. Gosh. Yes, I've been at so many events around the world, And to answer you in the chat, Emma, I think the target age for this show is pretty much it's perfect for 12 to 14-year-olds. I mean, 12, every kid from the age 10, 11, 12 up to 13 are going to be like, wow, this is the most awesome stuff. Just to offer that. But Tukish, it does matter to see community recognize itself. There's something about that you can't replace. Kind of like when you go to a big convention like Dragon Con or San Diego, right? And suddenly you realize, oh, these people came from Canada. These folks came in from Australia. And oh, look, there's people who just arrived from Israel. And someone else is here from Taiwan. And they all are people you talk to online, and you never realize what it's like to see them until you see the light in their eyes, because they're sitting across the table from you. And when there's that light in another person's face and in their eyes when they're talking about Tolkien and how much they love these books and how connected they are, there's it's not just a sense of, oh, camaraderie and everyone's having a great time. It's more like, whoa, these people are real and they live their lives as much as I do, living and breathing and living this Tolkien stuff all the time, really.
What about for the people who worked on the show, cast, crew, showrunners? Has it been meaningful for them, do you think, to get to talk to us, the fans, and get to know the fans?
Oh yeah, they love that. It's after I sat down and did my press junket interviews with all these actors and actresses, I thought, yeah, they really want to experience that outreach and that energy from.
Why do you think it was important? Like, what's it doing for them?
Psychologically, I think it is helping them realize that all their hard work for over a year and a half or more of COVID isolation, being isolated from their families down on an island way down there, I think that the first experience of going to these premieres, or even sitting in a room with someone like me as an ambassador to the fan community and just saying, wow, we're all picked up with our enthusiasm and we're ready to go. We're so ready to go. They don't get a sense of that until they're there with us. Because they've been isolated, stuck down there in under very specific government controls.
Well, and you're in such a bubble to begin with in the worlds that these people walk, right? So getting to interface with real people or regular folks, I think is a good, healthy experience for them.
Heck yeah, absolutely. I got to say, we just lost Keaton, so we're going to try to bring him back. Okay, we just lost him, but we're going to try to bring him back. Now, you, good sir, Tukish, you've been to so many events yourself around the world, have you not?
I have been fortunate to attend some amazing events with Torn. Absolutely.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you see that relationship, and I hate to be the old guy in the room all the time, but it goes back to those first conversations that we had with Richard Taylor and the guys from Decipher and the guys from Sideshow. It's sitting around tables at the hotel after the days of the convention and just connecting. They do this work, and to know that it's appreciated and loved, and people are really into it for positive reasons, is very rewarding. Those are those psychological rewards. I've always had a lot of empathy for people who are famous and talented, because they've got that spotlight on them all the time, and for them to be able to connect in an authentic way, I think is really important. And it comes back to one of my themes too, that Tolkien is the universal language. So we're all sort of brought to this same place together for the same thing, and that's tremendous.
It is indeed. How about that? I agree with what Angel just said about win or lose. Like, I even said this at the San Diego Comic-Con panel, but pass or fail, this TV series is going to bring a huge readership back to J.R.R. Tolkien, and people even like yourself, Keaton, had been driven to take classes for Signum University because you're ready to absorb. Oh no, man, it's awesome. You should
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, shout out
Signum.
to James Tauber. Shout out if you're here.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Oh, you know what? I'm going to say thank you to the chain for saying this. I should get a role as a librarian of ancient lore in Numenor. Okay, I'm down.
Love that.
I'm so down for that. I'm so down for that. That's hilarious. There's somebody who just joined our chat who was just inside the premiere. That is you. There you are. Merrick Stephen says, I was at the London premiere. You were just there. What time is it right now? Is it already near 3 a.m. in London? Right now where you are, sir? So
Yeah,
he said, my favorite Tolkien on screen, no exaggeration. Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
That's really nice to hear.
You know, that kind of leads me to another point. It's I was talking about this to someone earlier, but it's no matter how it turns out. I mean, especially like, you know, the hours that will follow after, you know, on Friday or tomorrow, and the hours that have followed after all these premieres and screenings are, you know, everyone's, you know, in various different groups discussing and talking about the show, and then it, you know, usually evolves into talking about the work as a whole. Usually talks about how you got to it, and it's those conversations that are going to transcend the show. They'll transcend the Peter Jackson films and even the books, in the sense that we, you know, you're talking about the relationship that you have with it and the relationship that you develop with all these people by talking about it. Yeah, and so that's going to be, I mean, if anything, it's already a victory won, you know, is because it's going to happen and it's going to connect the community. I think even more so than we thought it could already, you know, that it already is connected. It's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, you know, if we can, you know, avoid the minefield, all we have to do is avoid the minefield of that weird little ecosystem on YouTube where everybody decided to make a lot of money off of going ridiculously negative for, you know, whatever reason. Oh, they're making money. That's the reason. So every time someone comes at me and says, you're a shill, you are such a paid shill, I'm actually thinking about how I've volunteered without pay for all these decades. And I stop and think to myself, wait a minute, you negative YouTubers are the ones making all the money. You negative YouTubers
Isn't
are
that
the ones,
interesting?
You know, there's
ironically,
be...
let me just say the irony cannot be overstated. Who's making the most money off of putting out ridiculous, stupid videos that are
Don't try to confuse people with
you
the
know?
truth, man. Don't try to confuse people with the truth. But you know, to me, it's like as tough as that is. Somebody put this so well in some tweets the other day that had nothing to do with Lord of the Rings related, but they were like, you know, I was looking at my tweets and it bothered me so much, and then I turned my phone off and I walked outside. It's like, oh yeah, make your noise. Who cares? You know, we're gonna dance like nobody's watching. We're gonna have a great time, and we're gonna make a lot of hay because the sun is shining, boy. So
the sun is shining on
cares?
A new adaptation, an adaptation of Middle Earth that seems to be, although we admit it is loosely adapted. We might even admit that it is something of a hybrid. It's a hybrid of Tolkien and his thoughts, and it's a hybridization of other writers.
It's an extension. It's an extension.
And what they think is their ideas.
Yes.
So sure. So it's not just, you know, it's not just a thing that is supposed to pay homage and respect and honor to a literary legacy. I think what they're trying to do is succeed in broadening the scope of the storytelling, and at the expense of what? Everybody keeps saying to me, at the expense of what are they broadening the story? And I have not seen that pitfall yet. I have not yet seen the drawback, the negative drawback, because I keep looking at, even if they go a lot of deviations, major, weird, fluid deviations from the text, from the characters. At least we, as responsible Tolkien community members, can talk about, well, sure, it's off target, but it's closer to the story of how they get where they eventually get. We can explain differences on everything all the time.
And I think this show is really going to provoke some great dialogue and some great conversations at home, on screen, off screen, with friends, and some thinking. And it's this freshness that I think has kind of been missing somewhere out there in this vast, landscape of television. So that's going to be fantastic too. I see Justin knocking at the door here.
Well, look who just came in. Looks like somebody named Justin is here. Hey,
Tired Justin.
How we have a special guest
There he
joining
is.
us from London, all the way from London.
I know, high roller.
Check that jacket out too, people.
What's going on?
We're just out of the World London Premiere Power at Leicester Square. They took over multiple cinemas. It wasn't just one theater; it was multiple theaters, and an amazing all about it. I can't talk long, but I just wanted to show you the popcorn that gave us.
Let's see the Kit Kats. Yes,
show the Kit Kats.
Popcorn. You got the Kit Kats. That's lovely. You got the special box of Kit Kats.
I was just going to bag on the Kit Kats too. I'm glad I didn't say anything.
Big shout out to Amazon for supporting the hundreds of fans, and it was so great to see everybody there. Some new torn folk, and it was. And Kirsten Green Dragon was kind of like overseeing a lot of it, and Amazon just really treated with an amazing time. And shout out to the actors, Sophia. Big shout out to Barking. I mean, everybody loves Reddit. Everybody loves Torn. Ismail was just like for being the true voice, and the internet gets polluted with all of them, but the actors recognize what the true fans really show, and I can't wait to tell you guys. Show feels like watching it a second and a third time. This is I picked up so many things that I didn't the first time I saw it. Man, I'm in the back of an Uber trying to have an amazing night all around. And big shout out to just Reddit and Torn for carrying the torch. And I'm telling you, knows this community, and every one of the actors recognized me and asked, "Where's Cliff?"
Really?
They watched the show. They watched this show that you're watching right now. Some of them might even be in the chat room on a regular basis. Not tonight, but on a regular basis.
That's awesome.
They are lurking and they are watching, and so everybody every week and keep.
That's so cool.
Polite and on topic and friendly and fair. The actors are recognizing that. Thanks.
We were just talking about that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Justin,
isn't that
like
funny?
You're on
we were just talking about
right
that
now.
So, my battery's at 5. It's been an amazing night. I can't wait to post some of these photos. Sneak preview I've been given on Instagram and on Facebook and to Twitter. We've got videos from John Howe, from Lenny Henry, everybody, and I gotta say,
that's great.
A message message to Cliff from Patrick. Wait till episode 7.
Ooh.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Really?
Now I'm waiting until episode 7.
Wait till
So-
episode 7? Wait, what? Wait till episode 7?
That's the message from the top. So,
Wow.
my
Okay.
battery's gonna
Wow.
die, guys. I'm glad you're live. I'm glad you're holding it down.
Glad to be here.
and
Glad
it's,
to be here. Of course. Of course.
Signing out
Well-
Great cameo.
from the motherland. Signing out from London, Hollywood next week.
That is so awesome.
Safe
Justin,
travels.
Justin, before you leave, I want to say thank you for giving me all of the technical tools and the instructions to be able to run the show and do the show while you're not here. So thank you for everything. And this is very exciting to see you tonight, my dear friend, my dear, dear, dear fellow Baggins. Thank you for everything. And I hope you're having a really good time tonight, buddy. Have a great time.
And you know what? Tolkien Society, El Anillo Unico, the one, all of our friends. It's just what an amazing. I'm gonna say, talked about New York already. London was better than New York.
Really? Wow. How can that be possible? Wow. That's amazing. I'll believe you, though. I'll
Fantastic.
believe
All around.
you.
And
That's so good.
Oh man, more. I'll see you on Torn Tuesday next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week, good sir. Bye-bye for now. Awesome. Okay, wow. Okay, from the chat,
That was
how
great.
many episodes will there be? Season 1 has 8 episodes. And if I'm not mistaken, they put out a big piece of information that looked like a big press release that was chunky and wordy. It was filled with weirdly line-spaced information. But we have it posted. I think we posted it on our social media, and it tells you exactly what time zone and everywhere around the world on every date when those 8 episodes are being broadcast on Prime Video.
Yep.
Yes, we did have that. Wow. Hello, Justin, and goodbye, Justin. What an
Hello.
amazing, an amazing little throwdown that was to have him here. Oh
That
my
was
God.
phenomenal.
Frontline reporting, man.
I know I keep mentioning the Discord, but we were really treated to something special earlier in the evening too, when Lady Nico, who was also at the London premiere,
Yes.
was in the chat and really holding court and throwing down spoilers. We have a special room for spoilers if you want those, but if you don't have to get them. And so that was pretty amazing too. And Lady Nico will be hosting episode chats too in that Discord. Cliff, it's been a lot of fun today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. My gosh, it's been so great to have you here, sir. My goodness gracious. Thanks, Daisy. Everybody in the chat has been super amazing. Mr. Tukish, if it is time for you to go, then I will send you off into the ether with a very fond farewell. Thank you, my friend, for coming to join us tonight. So good to have you here.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye-bye, buddy. Thanks again. So awesome. I love it. I love that guy. Tukish is the best. He is the best. Wow. Angel says that the last episode is going to be about October 14th. Yeah. Okay. That's what I've been hearing too. Wow. How super cool is that? Well, what else can I say? People had been asking me a little bit here and there about, my general impressions, but I'm going to write this thing. It's going to be a thing, and it will be a review thing, right? So that's all I got to do. I've got to write this review thing. Are you writing something yourself, Keaton? Are you just gonna actually talk online and visually present your?
That is what I'd like to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think after tomorrow, and I think after Friday, I'm going to record a manifesto and see if I can write from that, or if I want to just present it as an audio digression. We'll see. I got a lot of testing to do with that, but it needs to be. It does need to be presented in some form, yes, if not for fond memory.
If I'm not mistaken, This is the last Torn Tuesday that we will have before the appearance of the Rings of Power on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
This is actually our ultimate Torn Tuesday broadcast before we all come back on the other side, and we've been able to talk openly and express ourselves about what we just saw in the opening 2 episodes of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Can I breathe? I still feel like a lot of people are holding their breath, but now that some early buzz, really strong,
Yeah.
positive feedback,
Yep.
has been happening. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. The Shiv Knight is so correct. It is the deep breath before the plunge.
Well, and even besides, fellow fans giving great reviews, a lot of the major media outlets started reporting similar positive reviews, maybe from the more general media reviewer. And I think that really also kind of kicked things into place, just because, you kind of start limiting some of the fan bias with that.
Yes. Wow. I think that this is really a singular moment. I will never forget it. I will never forget this moment and where we're at right now, what it feels like, what it's like. Orion's Angel says the fact that Cliff needs to write down his thoughts is a good sign. They do expect me to have a written review, and I'm going to do my very best, and I hope that I can have it published tomorrow. Wow. Oh, yeah, at the top of the roller coaster. That's where we're at, Daisy. Woo!
Cliff, I'm curious.
Woo! We are at the top, just about to go over. Yes, yes.
Do you think? How do you think this will be for the next? Assuming that this momentum we've talked about carries through the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it can only grow for season 2, 3, or will we always come back to this fond and nostalgic place, or would the hype just continue to grow for each season as the show goes on?
If they succeed, yes. If they succeed, then the hype will get more and more and more as it goes along per season. If the hype is going to be compared, nothing will compare ever to this first time around.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
When the Two Towers came out, The King came out, it felt different because it was a 1-year wait, a very long time for the Earth to go around the sun before we could do another big event. So it's going to feel like the party. This is a special party of special magnificence right now, but in the future, I do believe that popular culture will be bringing more and more attention to it in future years. I really do believe that.
Certainly.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do we know what these figures are going to be? Emma Jane, fascinating question. But are we ever going to know those numbers? Are they going to ever reveal those numbers to us that we can even talk about it? I'd like to know. Inquiring minds would like to know, but I don't know.
If it's over 10 million.
Well, we don't know if they're looking for subscribers to be new subscribers, or they're looking for inactive accounts to suddenly be reactivated. Is that part of their matrix of measuring this? Are we looking for the number of viewing, the number of downloads per week, coupled with new accounts activated, coupled with brand new subscribers? We don't know what the matrix of number crunching is.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued by what this is going to look like in terms of them measuring the success of that.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
Hello, Garfe Mao. It's so lovely. This is a beautiful friend and ongoing participant, contributor to our Torn staff. There's Kathy. Hello, Kathy. Garfe Mao is asking, will there be any viewing parties in the next few weeks in Los Angeles? And the answer is probably. Look at Scum and Villainy Cantina. That's all I've got to say. Look at the social media for Scum and Villainy Cantina. That is not how you type that. And that is where we will get more information about local Los Angeles screenings. Absolutely. Hold on. We've got Terry. Hello, Terry. Really, Terry? Is that what you think? Well, I don't know about that. That's just nonsense, because that's nonsense. Do you promise to be honest with your episode reviews? Yes, Galen. Galen 444. Yep, my review is going to be negative where it needs to be and positive where it needs to be. The only things that I feel negatively about right now are why certain characters are pushed into certain situations, and it looks like the writer's room was trying to figure out what to do with the situation. Other than that, I don't have many complaints. I don't have many complaints at all, really. I might feel differently about the overall 8 episodes by the time we get to the end of that. Now, that's the safe thing to do. Reserve judgment. Reserve judgment until you figure out what exactly they're presenting the whole way around. What do you think?
Yeah. I had given, a sort of numerical, I'll say it, I gave a numerical rating to the first 2 as a whole. And I think that will average out differently once I've seen the other, 6? So I think it's great to be cautiously optimistic at all times. That's what I'll say.
Eravandi is quoting a classic song. Shake it off.
True.
Shake it off. There you go. That's hilarious. That's really, really. I thank you very much. I appreciate that. We're gonna say all you. How many fans do we have out there of the great songstress who's taught us all to shake it off?
There are definitely. I'm looking at WD in the chat. He was
saying,
yeah. What do you guess is the story they're trying to tell in season 1? They said there are 4 stories: the Forging, Sauron's Rise, Numenor's Fall, and Last Alliance. Well, I'll tell you that they all won't happen in season 1 for sure. Cliff, I don't know how minefield you want to be about that.
What do you guess is the story they're trying to tell in season 1? They said there were 4 stories: the Forging, Sauron's Rise, Numenor's Fall, and the Last Alliance. What they're trying to tell in season 1, they're doing a lot of heavy lifting to set things up. At least, I just saw episodes 1 and 2, and they're responsible for doing a lot of heavy lifting in establishing characters and establishing settings, and a lot of backing up the narrative with, well, you people feel that way about it.
Yeah.
We feel that way about it. You characters feel that way about it. Okay, is that how you feel about it? So all these characters are being given to us and how they are currently existing in a time of peace, relative peace. And then what they're going to do as they go forward after all this establishing stuff. And I appreciate to the maximum, I really appreciate the hard work that J.A. Bayona did with all the exposition and handling all the establishing shots and establishing characters. I know. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yes, she does. She does have a new album coming out in October. That's right. That is correct. I'm going to be pretty sad if there is no Anatar. Now, look, Stephen, everybody has been telling us that Anatar is being kept secret. The identity, who is the identity of the stranger? Everyone's talking about Meteor Man, but what you really want to be talking about, I think Meteor Man is secondary compared to who is the identity of Anatar. We should be talking about that. And there's a lot of weird fan theories going around about who Anatar might be. But it's going to be 10-hour-long episodes. There are going to be eight episodes. Merrick, I think we're going to be doing 8 episodes, and they're all an hour long. Yeah, they're 8 episodes in the first season.
They've said they have a 50-hour story. Is that what I remember hearing? 50 hours.
50-hour stories.
So,
that's right. Right. Yeah. So, and here we go. Angel, I think the world building is what will happen in season 1. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, and we cannot underemphasize this. Otaku Senpai, who's one of our best ongoing members of our community audience, always on point. You are always on point. They seem to be compressing thousands of years of history and events into a really squishy time frame. Oh, Lord help us!
They are.
That's exactly what's happening. That is what's happening.
And you can definitely tell.
Not going to lie about that. We're not going to lie about that. So,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here you go. WD says, I thought that Meteor Man would be Eonwë, coming to Middle Earth to find Sauron. Now that is an awesome theory, and that is one of the best
It's one of the more interesting
ideas.
ones.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that. I love you for saying that, because now I can finally talk about this as a possibility instead of just, oh, is it a blue wizard, or oh, is it Gandalf? Yeah. Oh,
is it a
my
Balrog?
gosh. What a great idea. What a great idea.
That's great.
I'd be willing to entertain that for a long time to come. Let's see what happens now. According to what Justin just said from London, Patrick said, just you wait, Clifford, for episode 7.
Could mean 800 different things.
Episode 7. Okay, I don't even know, but episode 7 is going to be, but we're going to get there. Garfe Mao is saying, tell us in the cheap seats who is Eonwë. Well, back in the day, after the War of Wrath, after the destruction of Beleriand, Sauron was asked, he was kind of told, that he should go all the way back to Valinor and repent for his actions working with Morgoth. And the emissary who was sent by the Valar was none other than Eonwë, who came and sat down to meet with Sauron in Middle-earth, and Sauron was afraid. He was afraid to go back. He was afraid of the bitterness of the judgment that would be brought against him by the Valar, right?
Too much pride. Too much pride.
Right? And he did not go back. Okay, Cooperman is like, it's Gandalf. If Gandalf turns up, we riot. Yeah. There's a lot of thinking that Meteor Man is Gandalf. We just don't know that. And yes, hello there. That is a great theory. Yes. Meteor Man showing up. Hold on. I'm trying to pull this up. Merrick says that Meteor Man is super in it. He is in it to win it. And it is pretty amazing.
I'll agree.
Yeah.
I will say the this isn't a spoiler because it's clearly out. The Stranger track on Bear McCreary's soundtrack album is one of the best on the track on the record.
It is.
So. It's
really good stuff. Really excellent stuff. So and how about that? I love that theory. I'm going to run with that. WD. Thank you. There's Justin. Justin is there in the Discord talking with us. It is a full Tolkien family reunion in London. They're having the best time. They're having the very best time, and this is correct. Maybe that is a good idea to close the show on that right there. I had to mute my microphone. Good cough. Is the downfall in the biggest way? That's something. You're definitely onto something. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now to say, oh, what is this? I keep seeing this. What is next? I've seen this several times.
I don't know either.
What is this? What is an ampat? Someone tell me what the heck. Yes, all right. Very, very happy with it's the song title. It's one of the songs. Which one? My audio. Well, I'll do my best. Okay. Title. Okay. Is that okay? I'm sorry I missed Can you hear me?
It's a little choppy. It's a bit choppy.
Can you hear me better?
Yes, I think now you're good. Try again.
Is that better now? Well,
Yeah,
it is time.
it is
close
time
the sh-
anyway.
Nan Pat, Bear McCreary's
Mm.
about that. I'm sorry about me missing. We should ask before we go off into the sunset conclusion to our show. I want to say across all platforms. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Is it still choppy?
It's yeah. I think it might not be plugged in all the way. Now it's just totally muted. I think right chat muted.
Hello, is that any better now?
Yeah, maybe.
I
Yes.
hope so.
Yes.
I
Run with it.
I want to say, Cliff, fix my audio. I'm sorry. Gosh, you guys did. I unplugged it and plugged. You guys, come on, plugged everything back in, so it's fine. Now, if you can hear me,
Nah. Nah.
Whatever.
I don't know. I guess it happened
It's
after you
time
muted.
to say. I know. It's time to say good night, everybody. Thank you. Still choppy. What a mess. Hear that. But everybody have a great. Everybody have a great time. Can you hear me? You hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is at all? Okay. All right. There they are. That commands. It's right there. All right. So
say it.
It's time to say thank you, Keaton. Thank you for joining me. And it's we're going to be talking again very soon. Everybody, the Rings of Power. Have a great time, everybody. Thank you, Keaton. This is it, everybody. Where we actually say good night, everyone. So glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to say and I hope you can hear me. We'll have so much to talk about and a lot of conversation with people around the world. Thank you for Tuesday, right here at the One Ring. We're going to be on the other side of it. Next amazing conversation with everyone. So, Tuesday, good night and good luck, or as buenos noches y buena suerte. Thank you.